Good morning, happy Easter, and welcome to this episode of Getting to Know Our Heavenly Family. Today, as we continue to celebrate Christ's rising from the dead, we meet a saint whose Easter faith gave him the courage to speak out against immoralities, even to the King of Poland, and even unto death. Very little is known for certain about Saint Stanislaus, since his first biography was not written until more than a century after his death. Nevertheless, his influence upon Poland has been great. He is believed to have been born and raised in southern Poland, in a village whose name I cannot pronounce, just outside of Krakow. His parents were prominent and wealthy, as well as devout and charitable. For most of their marriage, they were without children. When he was conceived later in their lives, Stanislaus' parents saw their child as a gift from heaven. As a youth, Stanislaus became very devout, charitable toward the poor, fervent in mortifications, and dedicated to growth in virtue. As a young man, it is believed that he was sent to study in the then capital of Poland, Gniezo, and later completed his theological studies in Paris. After his parents died, Stanislaus received a huge inheritance, which he immediately gave to the poor. He was ordained to the priesthood by the Bishop of Krakow and anointed canon at the cathedral, became a well-respected preacher, was later appointed as a pastor, and eventually became the vicar general of Krakow, a position of great importance in the local church. When the Bishop of Krakow died, Stanislaus was chosen as his successor by popular acclaim. At first he refused the position, but on the explicit order of the Pope, he accepted and was ordained a bishop around the age of 42. As a bishop, Stanislaus vigorously preached against immoralities at all social levels. He even confronted the king. When he was met with opposition, he remained steadfast in his convictions. It is believed that, to help solve various ecclesiastical matters, he brought papal legates to Poland, re-established the Diocese of Gniezno as an archdiocese, and worked with the king to found new monasteries to help with the ongoing efforts of evangelization. At that time, Bolesław II was King of Poland. Though King Bolesław enjoyed many honors as a successful military leader, he also continued to manifestly indulge in immoralities such as lusts and heavy-handed cruelty to anyone who opposed him. Tensions continued to grow between the bishop and the king. Eventually, after the king ignored the bishop's warnings, Bishop Stanislaus excommunicated Bolesław. Outraged, Bolesław held a mock trial and found the bishop guilty of treason, punishable by death. When Bolesław's soldiers refused to carry out the order, Bolesław himself slew the bishop with his sword while the bishop was celebrating the Mass. Legend continues that after Stanislaus' death, the soldiers were ordered to dismember the bishop's body and scatter the pieces on the land to be devoured by wild beasts. Miraculously, eagles guarded the pieces until the canons of the cathedral were able to gather them and bury them properly. Outrage against Bolesław's actions quickly reached a fever pitch in the kingdom, and the king had to flee to Hungary, where he died an unhappy death. You can see here in this image the parts of the story, right? So in the upper left, we have Stanislaus being ordained as a bishop. Then you see him in the upper right preaching. Then in the lower left, we have King Bolesław attacking St. Stanislaus during the Mass. You see slaying him there. And then in the lower right, we have the parts of St. Stanislaus being distributed after he was dismembered. St. Stanislaus held firm to the truth, never wavering in his love for Christ or his desire to see all peoples united to Christ. Even though persecuted by the king, a man reputed to be brutal and immoral, St. Stanislaus did not give in to evil. He knew that he was safe from death because his God, Jesus Christ, had risen from the dead and now reigns in glory in heaven. So as we live into this Easter octave and Easter season, May the joy of Christ's resurrection burst forth from you, permeating all things you do, and give you the courage to hold true to the one faith, steadfast in the assurance that Jesus is reigning and will keep you safe in all storms. Saint Stanislaus,